50% of our membership are actually UK companies. The rest are European and international companies who actually want to do business with Britain and the British way. And they have recognised that trade has to continue. We have to continue building the relationships that we've been trying to build for the last 40 years within the EU, despite whatever happens in terms of the Brexit referendum and then the negotiations that follow.
So practically what happens? Are people who do business with one another, say British business within your body, calls one of the European business that it does trade with, and is it a phone call? I mean, what does that phone call sound like?
There's a whole range of things. I mean, we've actually found that some of our members are actually doing more business now than they did before, in that people are saying...
How so?
Well, some of it is, I suppose, almost a fear factor. Well, we better start getting the business done before anything bad happens. So there's been an if you want, an upwell of business activity in some markets, not all markets, and in some sectors. In other areas, it's been more of, well, how do we counter actually some very negative reaction from some of the governments in Europe.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because if some of the other member states are quite cross with the Brits for walking out on this, can they put pressure on businesses that are patriated in their country to not do business with British business?
It's very interesting. We've had one, I won't mention the country, but one very senior country in the EU, the government of that country going to its domestic Chamber of Commerce saying you should tell your companies not to do so much business with the UK, and you should start withdrawing from doing business with the UK.
And so how do your members respond?
Well, it's very interesting, that Chamber of Commerce, because our members actually right across Europe have very, very good relationships with all the business organisations in their countries, immediately phoned our member and said, look, this is what our government has said to us, and this was a state-funded Chamber of Commerce. What can we do to actually strengthen the business between our two countries? So they were actually going against what their government wanted, because they knew that's what that was what was sensible to do and what is needed for Europe as well, not just for the UK.
The IFS has warned particularly about service exports. But some economists there, we were reflecting their views just before we started the interview, saying that actually for financial services, being shot of some of this regulation, being shot of financial transactions tax, that's a good thing.
Yes. That is an argument. Also,
do you
some of
agree
the
with it?
well, yes, but you just can't look at the single market in isolated areas. I mean, what I find is very interesting is what the European businesses and business associations are telling us, is that European business is desperate for the UK to retain full membership of the single market.
But while we wait for something to happen, I mean, what do you want British government to do to support British business?
Well, we've actually put an open letter into the government about this. I mean, there are a whole range of things that can be done, some short-term, some longer-term. I mean, the immediate short-term thing that the government could do is provide a tax credit for British business to export. And that tax credit could be utilised to actually provide the services needed to help that company export. And we believe that would make a major impact on GDP as well as our balance of payments, because if that money is used to hire UK companies to help with its labelling, translations of some sort, or logistics or consultancy in terms of market entry, well, that is going to have a multiplier effect in the economy.
Okay. So